comes in early, stays late, solve problems nobody asked them to solve, and still hasn't been promoted. I want to talk to the person who watched someone else got the manager title and sat quietly, thinking that should have been me. I want to talk to the person who doesn't say any of this out loud at work because they don't want to seem entitled or bitter. So they just keep working harder and hoping someone notices. I see you because I sit on the other side of the table. I am a manager and I want to tell you something that nobody in your office is going to say to your face. The reason you haven't been promoted yet has almost nothing to do with how hard you work and everything to do with a few specific things you're unknowingly doing it wrong. Things that are completely fixable, things that once you know, then you can change starting tomorrow. This is what the video is all about. Let's go. My name is Ajinkya Mangaonkar. I'm a manager and I've been on the both sides of the conversation. I've been the person waiting for the promotion and wondering why it was not happening. And now I am the person in the room when promotion decisions are made. And let me tell you what happens in that room would genuinely shock most of you. Because managers don't talk about who worked the hardest that year. They talk about who is ready to lead people. And those are the two different conversations. I started this channel because I kept watching talented, hardworking people get overlooked, not because they were not good enough, but because nobody ever told them that those are the some unwritten rules which you really need to follow. So that's what I do here. I give you the exact inside view. Now let me show you exactly what's happening and how to go about it, what to do about it, what are the some real great solutions here. I am in the room when promotions are decided. Here is the most important thing I'll say in the entire video. So I need you to really hear this very carefully. Your manager is not asking, does this person works harder? Everyone works hard, right? That's the baseline. What your manager is actually asking, often even without even realizing it, is this: does this person makes my life easier or harder? That's it. That's the real filter. Now think about it from their perspective as well. A manager's job is to deliver result through a team. Every time something goes wrong, every time there is a gap, every time they have to chase someone for an update, that's the friction. That's their problem to solve. So the person who gets promoted is the one who reduces that friction. The person is that who bridges a gap between how can they solve the problem. The one who brings solutions, not just problems. The one who can be trusted with something and not just checked 3 times in a day. Like, how are they doing? Like, is there any update or something? Like, chasing continuously. The one who makes the team better just by being in it. And here's what actually kills me. Most of you are that person. You are already doing half of this. You are not doing it visibly. You're not doing it in a way that the decision makers can see, measure, and advocate for. And that's the gap between doing the things and being seen doing the work is what actually costing you the promotion. Now, there are some core insights which I really want to share with you. It's 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 pretty much some basic things which we need to follow. It's not about working harder. It's not about uh, trying to be more impressive at work. It's about being understood differently. This actually, which is going to be covering in this entire video, because in my experience as a manager, there are three specific problems I see in almost every person who is ready for a promotion. But in reality, they are not getting one. And I'm going to give you the solution to each one of them right now. Let's go. So, problem number one: you're solving tasks, not problems. Your manager gives you a task, you do it, send it back. That's it, done. Uh, but here's what a manager's ready person does: they do the task and they send it back with a specific note that says, I noticed while doing this that X might be an issue down the line. I looked into it, and here are two options which how can we handle it. So if you see that one extra paragraph, that actually makes a difference. That's the difference between an executor and a future leader. Because managers don't just need people who do things, they need people who think, people who see around corners. When you send that extra paragraph, your managers don't just think that, that's a good job. They think, I don't need to babysit this person. I can give them the bigger things. So if I break this down for you, the number one fix for this problem is from today onwards, never send task back as just a completed task. Always include one observation, one risk you spotted, or one recommendation. It just take 2 minutes of your time. And trust me, it changes everything, right? Problem number two, you are invisible to people who actually decide promotions. And that's a fact. Here's something most employees don't know. Your direct manager rarely decides your promotions alone. It actually comes from up. It, there's a conversation, sometimes a whole meeting, where multiple senior people weigh in. And in that meeting, someone might say, I think Ajinkya is ready. And another person might say, who? That's when the actually opportunity dies. Being good at your job in a room that only your direct manager can see is not enough anymore. You need to be known, respected, and trusted by at least one or two people around above your manager's level. That is really very important. And how you're going to do it? You don't need to be a political about it. Just be strategically present. Volunteer for the project that senior people are leading. When you have an insight across the team meeting, share it confidently. Share it with the recommendation. Share it with the problems which you have noticed. Share it with the risks which you have spotted. Share it with the solution. At least come up with two or three solutions, which is going to really help you to put that kind of impression around your multiple stakeholders. Ask thoughtful questions that show you are thinking at the next level. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just making sure the people who matter have enough data points to say your name confidently when the conversation happens around the promotion. Now, the fix. Identify one senior leader above the manager. Find one legitimate way to add value in their world. That could be a project, that could be a meeting, that could be a well crafted email. Do it once in a month. Build that familiarity slowly and authentically. Let's jump to the problem number three. You are never actually said you want to be a manager. That's right. I know this sounds too simple, but I promise you, this is more common than you think. I have sat across from genuinely talented person in performance reviews and ask them, what are your goals? And they say, I just want to keep doing good work and grow. And I'm sitting there thinking, I had no idea that they wanted to move into a leadership. That changes everything about how I would have been developing them. Your manager is not a mind reader and they are busy. They are not spending their Sunday nights thinking about your career trajectory. That is your job. You need to have that explicit conversation with them. Let them know that, hey, I am looking out for a promotion. I am looking out for the leadership role and get promoted to a manager. And I want to move into a management role. I am committed to getting there. Can you tell me specifically what you need to see from me to support that? That one conversation puts your name on completely different list. It shifts the entire dynamic. Now your manager has a reason to give you stretch assignments, a reason to pull you out into a leadership conversation, a reason to advocate you. Now the fix before I jump into the solution, before your next one-on-one, write this down. One sentence and say it out loud. I want to be considered for a management role. What do I need to demonstrate? That's the whole script. Use it. Now, now I want to give you a framework, something really very practical. You can actually use it to position yourself for that promotion. I call it that already a manager framework because the whole idea is this. Stop waiting for the title before you act like one. There are five signals that a managers look into before promoting someone. If you consistently show all those five, the promotion isn't a question of if anymore. It becomes a question of when, right? Let me quickly break each one of down for you. Number one is ownership. Very, very important. Ownership, take the result, not just the task. An employee says that, I just did my part. And a future manager says that the outcome wasn't right. Let me fix it. Ownership means you personally responsible how things land. You personally feel that, not just what you submitted. When something goes wrong on your watch, you don't point fingers that this might have happened because of him or his mistake. Yeah, you actually take the ownership. You don't point fingers. You say, "I'm on it." That's the word. "I'm on it" is the one most powerful things you can say to your manager, right? Number two, clarity. Make your manager's life easier, one message at a time. Most people communicate like this. They send a long, vague message and wait for a response. Manager ready people communicate like this. Hey, here's the situation in one sentence. Here's what I've already done. Here's what I need from you. Yes or no, and by when. That's the format. Situation, action, ask. Take 30 seconds to learn and will make you stand out within a week. Going forward. Elevation. Be someone who makes the team better. Managers don't just need doers, they need people who multiply the team. That means sharing knowledge generously, helping a struggling teammate, helping without being asked, celebrating someone else win publicly. Bring the person that junior employees trust and come to know. So when your managers look at their team and thinks this person is already growing other people, that is when they know that you are ready. Another one, judgment. Know when to decide and when to escalate. This is a subtle one. Poor judgment shows up in two ways. Either you make a very tiny decision independently without looping anyone, or you escalate your manager and never decide anything yourself. Neither is right. Good judgment means, what's yours to own and what needs to go up. And the only way to develop is to practice, practice, practice. Practice making small decisions confidently and being honest when something is above your feet, right? Another one, presence. Your energy is your brand. Walk into your team meeting and pay attention to how people respond to you when you ask or when you speak about specific thing. Just try and notice how they respond to you. Do people lean in? Do they not? Or do they build in what you say? Or does the conversation move on quickly? Or does they acknowledge whatever you're saying? Presence isn't about being loud, it's about being intentional. Saying fewer, more considered things, being the calmest person in a stressful situation, asking the question that nobody else thought to ask. Over time, that presence becomes your brand, and your brand is what people are really promoting, right? The other thing which I really want to talk to you about is a 30-day promotion challenge. Again, this is really very important. I want to give you something very actionable before you leave this video. A 30-day challenge, four things, one per week, that will shift how your manager sees you starting immediately. Week number one, have the conversation. Tell your manager you want to grow into a management role. Ask what ready looks like specifically. Write down this. If they say specific things like, you need to work on additional projects, you need to take additional tasks, you need to manage to lead people, you need to learn to manage people around you, just make a note of it. Week number two, send one update this week that includes a problem you spotted and your proposed solution. Just one. See how your manager responds. Right? Week number three. Help one person on your team without being asked. A junior colleague, a peer, you're stuck anywhere, just try and help them out. This is really very helpful. And do it visibly, but genuinely. Week number four. Show it in one meeting this week and contribute one insight that shows you're thinking at a level above your current role. This is really, really important. If you have to get into a managerial position, you need to think from a manager perspective. You will need to make a mindset of a manager, how the manager behaves, how the manager reacts to a problem. It's really very important. 4 weeks, four intentional shifts. If you do this honestly, I guarantee you will have a different conversation with your manager in 30 days than you have ever had before. And if your manager does not respond differently, even after you do all of these four things consistently, That's also important information. It might mean the ceiling isn't in your performance, it's in the environment. And knowing that early is one of the most valuable things you can learn. Take the screenshot of this 30-day challenge and tag me on Instagram. I want to be honest with you about something before I close. The people who become great managers, the one that team is really the one the team members talk about years and say that person genuinely changed my career. They were not the loudest in the room. They were not always the most technically brilliant. They were the ones who paid attention, who made other people feel seen, who cared about the outcome more than the credit. That person, I think that's the person you already who you are. You're just not showing it clearly enough to the people who needs to see it. That's what I am here for, to help you out. Every single week on this channel, I'm giving you the inside view, the stuff that happens in the room after you leave, the conversation that determines your career, the unwritten rules that nobody in your office will say out loud. If that's what you want, subscribe right now because the next video is going to cover exactly what managers talk about in your performance review before you even walk in the room. And one more thing, drop a comment below and tell me what is the one thing at your job right now that you feel is holding you back from that promotion. Be really very specific. I read every comment. I might even make a video on specifically answering your situation. You have got this. I'll see you next week.